So welcome. We're going to be talking about astral traveling. I don't know what's going on tonight, but I'm doing lives back to back, and I'm as shocked as you are. So if you're listening to this as a pre-recording, welcome. So glad you're here. So I wanted to talk to you about astral communication with your twin and astral lovemaking with your twin. So I don't think people talk enough about it. I think they do, but people keep talking about telepathy, astral communication. So you're feeling a high vibration. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're really feeling the energy of their depression. I'd say that's more in the telepathic communication realm. Okay, you're communicating in 3D, but in the astral, meaning you're in a high vibration. You might be asleep, you might be in meditation, what have you. But suddenly, it's almost like the energy is dipping to meet you, and you're rising to meet it, and you're communicating with your twin. You're feeling their feelings. You're feeling this incredible rush of love, and your ego is preventing you in the 3D world to reach out to them, or they've blocked you. And let me just say something about blocking that's fucked up. Blocking, most people forget they've blocked you. Just so you know, I know this because I've done it. So, where I forgot to unblock my twin. This was way back when. And I found that was one of the reasons why I never did it again. I just, if I didn't want to talk to him, I just didn't talk to him. That was that simple. And so I didn't block him again. And he didn't block me, period. It was weird. But my point to you is this. If they've blocked you on all social medias in a rage, a fit of anger and punishment, they want to punish you in a way they want to I'll see, I don't need you either, F off, right? And it's been a few months, right? You got to realize that they probably forgot. I'm not joking. Here's why. Because so that reality in 3D is happening, and suddenly you're having this amazing connection in the astral with your twin. You're feeling their presence, you're feeling their love, and it's them. It's not an angelic presence. It's not your guides. It's them. Like it's like just like here, if you heard their voice speak, you would know it's them. The energetic flow of your twin towards you in astral communication, it's them. There's no difference. It's a marked energy that is as distinctive as the sound of their voice. There's no mistake, right? Okay, so with that said, so when that happens and you're feeling this incredible rush of love, right? Yeah, it's them saying, hey, I'm here and I'm confused, or I'm hurt, or I'm not ready yet, or I'm still working on, but I love you, like I know you, like I feel you. And you have to trust it. You have to trust it. And what people in the twin flame journey don't understand is that they keep comparing their normal, like your extraordinary situation, right? Your extraordinary love affair, comparing it to other people to make sense of it. And so one of the questions I always ask people, because I don't know, they're saying it's a twin flame. I honestly don't know. But the question for you would be, how do you know it's a twin flame? Like, why? Because you've never felt this way before? Well, maybe that you're finally getting a relationship with a lover that makes you feel like home. And this feeling of I've never felt this way before is not uncommon with soulmates. Okay, so the first thing would be, how do you know it's a twin flame? Why do you think it's a twin flame? And you have to be really honest with you about what this is. Because I had a guy coming to me, he did a reading with me, he did multiple readings, and I said to him, it's not a twin flame, you're going to get over this. It's more like a low-level soulmate, and it's a karmic loop. You're looping. And sure enough, he was able to move on within 2 months. That's definitely not twin flames. You guys know it. I know it. You know it. And now sometimes, if it is a karmic loop, a soulmate, and you can't move on, sometimes it's because there's unfinished business. Okay, it means that you haven't learned something, they haven't learned something, and you guys are looping on the dryer cycle of karma. It's fucked up. On the other end, though, then we go into the twin flame realm, and once you meet them, even if you're veiled, meaning you met them, you felt they were fabulous, but there was a separation. It could have lasted like years, but you never forgot them. They were always a whisper in the right side of your ear, like you always felt their presence somehow. And suddenly, one day out of nowhere, you're blasted by their energy, and suddenly you're realizing, I have questions, like, who the hell is this person? Like, why can't I get them out of my mind? And seriously, you're suffering. You don't want to feel this, especially if you're married to someone else. Or they're married to someone else and you're not, or you're both married to some other people. And it's not unusual, and this is something people have a hard time with, it's not unusual to have a polyamorous heart, not a polyamorous body or a philosophy about sexuality, but you love two people. And then you start really deconstructing how you love the person you're with as opposed to your twin. And you're realizing, yeah, this twin situation is way off the top. And the way I love my soulmate or high-level soulmate or whatever is comforting. It's nice. It's like a blanket. And it's different. But the twin flame is activation, triggering, collapses, implosions, tower moments, and phoenix rising out of the ashes. And it's intense. It can be quite painful to the point where you feel like you're unable to breathe. And you're trying to find a reason to take the next breath. It can be pretty intense. And the word intense is like small word compared to the feelings that erupt. So let me look at, you were saying, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Well, I mean, to be honest, you have to figure out what is going on that's making you loop, and how many years have you been on this journey? Because some people have been on this journey a year, 2 years, and they already want to throw in the hat. And it's like, you need to ask some really brutally hard questions as to why you think this is the perfect timing for your twin to have walked into your life. It's certainly the universe and the high-level soul integrity of your twin wasn't there to harm you. There was a soul contract way before you were both born that this meeting would occur. Because may I remind you that quite often twin flames do not incarnate in every action or active incarnation that you take on. They don't. How do I know that? Well, because I've done hypnotherapies, Akashic readings, and I've seen how, and even my own experience, where my twin was nowhere to be seen in 400 or 500 years. I kid you not. Or at least in the 400 or 500 years that I was excavating, and the lives that were being revealed to me, I didn't see him nowhere to be found. Nowhere. So when we do meet, when the contract and divine timing and the meeting with your team, your light beings, the Galactic Council, or whoever is in charge, the guy that has been assigned to you, or who picked you, rather, from the day you first were in consciousness, the first, when you were birthed, basically created, they will make arrangements in discussions. I'm not joking when I say that, quite literally, and choose an incarnation and choose parents. I'm starting to realize this too. Parents that will help you on your twin flame journey. And that includes parents that are fucked up, on the side note. Why? Because if your twin flame has issues, which most people do anyway, it's not a twin thing, it's a people thing, an incarnation thing. And you've been looping in various incarnations with soulmates with the same type of repeat pattern, self-sabotaging or self-loathing, or even, I'm just going to say it, or evil deeds, doing really fucked up things to people, jealousy, but taking it to the extreme of what jealousy can create in people. And these are patterns that have continued. Then it could be that you need your frequency is a match with certain parents to give you certain foundational issues of both good and bad, and maybe even traumas. And here comes the twin, and I hope this makes sense. And that twin is there to activate your consciousness, your ability to self-realize. And it's a collapse. And the collapse of what you thought was real is massively painful. Remember, quite often what we're healing in these incarnations, the particular timeline we're in, are things we were not able to heal in multiple incarnations in the past. You don't have to know every bloody past life you had to just literally, somatically, spiritually release. That's what people don't seem to know. Okay? So you don't have to go through every nook and cranny of realizing what incarnations you had. When I do an Akashic reading, for example, I might get 3 past lives, 5 past lives, 7 past lives. And these are the past lives that are important in this particular timeline in 2025, connecting with someone like me. In May of this year, the timing is giving the following past lives that are needed. If you do an Akashic reading in 2027 with somebody, other past lives will be shown to you that are important for you releasing, being empowered, or whatever. Does that make sense? So when I hear of people saying, oh, my psychic said I had 7 past lives, I almost fucking spit my teeth through my nose, because I'm like, you've had hundreds of thousands, some millions of incarnations. The question is, why now? Why is it that you're in a loop with a twin that is making you feel like you don't want to do it anymore? That's the question. And what is it that you're avoiding that you don't want to do it anymore? And why are we more likely to be codependent and handing the keys to our happiness to a person? And I don't give a shit if it's your twin flame, your soulmate, your parents in this life, or anyone, your boss. Why? And that is one of the lessons that we're here to learn, where even if it is, in fact, in spite of it being your twin flame, you become independent to your happiness, and fuck happiness, to your peace. Because again, I'm quoting this monk I saw today, and actually yesterday, and I quoted him on a couple lives I did today, because I was so enamored by what he said, because what he said was, I'm not looking for happiness, because happiness, the opposite of happiness is sadness. Hello? I'm looking for peace. And frankly, from the time I was 37, I remember meeting a spiritualist who put their hand on my heart. They didn't even know me from Adam, but they did. And they said, you're looking for peace. And I started crying, because that was exactly it. I was looking for peace. And peace is that no matter what happens around you, you still feel the peace. You still feel the trust. You are in a transcendental experience, having you're enclosed in this human body. But you're able to transcendentally understand that though you're in this human body, it's temporary. You're not going to live 100,000 years, much less 1,000, much less, most of us won't make it to 100, much less 90. So all is well in my world, because what the fuck? It's like whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. So you see what I'm saying? And it's getting there. That's the key. See, even the monk's looking for peace. So if you got a monk, think of monks. He's a Buddhist monk. He's a beautiful man, by the way. And I've seen him around. He's almost, I don't know if he's a Shaolin master, but I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, and so think of what a monk does daily. He gets up really early, probably about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he starts his spiritual practice of meditation. Then he chants his mantras. Then he eats mindfully. He might do another walking meditation with his 108 bead mala. And then he might do a class. This particular monk probably teaches classes. And then he'll be reading and translating. And then a nightly meditation. And then off to bed in the early hours of the night. And he's looking for peace. He's trying to harness peace so it's a constant, beautiful Om in his whole frequency. Okay? So that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for peace. And as long as we give the keys to our happiness, or the keys to peace, the peace we seek, to anyone, including your twin, you are lost. And you will be lost in massive dark night of the soul, spinning you out of control, unable to focus and concentrate, unable to pass exams, unable to keep your job, unable to eat, or overeating, or whatever the hell you're doing. And finding absolutely no peace in any conversation with your pedestrian-minded 3D people, friends, family, whatever. And that is what you need to harness. Because as long as you have this fever for your twin, which I don't, trust me, I completely, it's not like I haven't gone through it. I have walked a lot of the steps of twin flame. Not all of it, but none of us are ever going to walk every step of the twin flame in one incarnation. That's fucking impossible. Anyone that tells you, I've done it all, I've done everything. No, they're fucking full of shit. Absolutely impossible. However, I've been on this journey for a long since I was a teenage girl. So I know what the fever is. I know what the longing and the thirst and the dark night of the soul. But frankly, and if you're honest, okay, and I don't know if that's your experience, because some people woke up recently, but some people will say to you, I've had dark night of the souls. Some people will tell you, my first dark night of the soul when I was 6. No shit, doesn't it coincide with going to school and being judged, being tested, and being bullied? And I mean bullied by teachers and systems of oppression of the creative mind. So the first dark night of the soul that some people have is when they're very young, like children, like, you know, and they're trying to figure out where's home, because this isn't home. And these people are strangers. I know they're my parents, but what the hell? Who dropped me here? Like, what happened? For some of you, the dark night of the soul that you remember is the one with your twin. It involves your twin. And if you're able to survive it, and I'm not being funny or dramatic when I say it, because some people don't survive it. But when you survive it, you should be like a samurai sword that's been beaten on the anvil. And that means that there's a power, a strength, a steel, a clarity to your new self that's developed out of this incredible dark night that seemed like it would ever end. And some dark night of the soul lasts a year, 2 years. I kid you not, 3 years. It's massive. And most people that you're going to try to talk to about that will look at you like deer in the headlights, not understanding what the hell you're talking about. Because I just illustrated the guy who was dating a chick and said, is it a twin flame? I go, oh, hell no, it's not a twin flame. You'll be over it in no time. I said 6 months, he was over it in 3. Come on. And that's how most people break up. This is when you'll hear people of getting married, right? And they marry for 20 years. And suddenly the spouse, male or female, dies. And within 10 months to maybe 2 years, they start dating again. Twin flames don't do that. They can't do that. They can't fathom, dating another human being after their twin passed away. No fucking way. They become celibate. In separation, they become celibate. When one of the twins dies, they become celibate. They can't do it. It's very much like wolves in the wild, where wolves mate for life, and one of the mates is shot by a hunter. That wolf will be grieving. Some wolves don't even make the grief. They actually drop their bodies within a year or two. No different than humans. And so this is something that I feel as if right now, during the cusp of the ascension, we are being asked to trust that nothing separates us from our twin, not even death. And to astral communicate with your twin while both of you are alive on this planet is probably the most important thing you can master. Because it will give you a sense of the timing. When's it a good time to send her or him a letter? When is it a good time to do X, Y, and Z? It will come to you. Trust me, especially if you're doing your daily meditations, your daily mantra chanting. One day you'll be in meditation and you'll be hit by a message, boom, like a meteor, falling right on your lap, saying, Today is the day, because you'll have some kind of image, or your twin will come to you, astral projecting themselves to you, I kid you not, from their higher soul, and speak to you or show you something. You'll know, oh, Jesus, okay, I think it's time for us to communicate. And this is something very important. Let me see here. Let me see your comments. Does sending them too much 5D energy cause them to run more? Well, it depends on the 5D energy you're sending them, because let's be honest, is it 5D energy? And it's a great question. But is it 5D energy, or is it your hunger? Be honest. Because if it's your hunger, yeah, the answer is they're going to run like hell. 5D energy is creating a safe space that is neutral in that sense of despairing and begging and or hoping and praying. 5D energy is releasing. 5D energy is, in this life or the next, I surrender. You're good. I only want the best for you. I miss you. But if we can't be together, I'm okay. I will manifest us together here and there, but not out of desperation, not out of waiting, not out of a sense of, oh, well, this shit doesn't work. Look, I've been manifesting him for months or years, and he's still not here. It means it's not time. And the thing about twins, and what people don't understand or don't want to understand, is that your twin has their own soul contract with other people. You have yours, they have theirs. And also, there is something that is very important that a lot of people don't respect in the spiritual community. And I'm talking about witches and people on that level that use love spells and shit like that, which is a massive, massive no-no. You do not use anything to lure them. Do you want to use manifestation, visualizing them in the present tense, that you guys are in beautiful union? Yes. But you're not trying to bend their will to your desires. And because you're not doing that, it is benign when you're sending out 5D energy. So the question is, this is why I question everyone that asks me questions, because is it 5D or is it your agenda, your desire, your need? And or are you just sending protection, healing light? If you found someone else, may she be wonderful for you. May he be wonderful for you. I release you and I love you. I want you to have the best. How do you know who's your twin flame? It's not a one pat answer. I have tons of videos you can watch. There's tons of videos that I've created on my YouTube channel that you can watch. You can literally start from 2022 and start watching them. So they're lives, they're videos on my TikTok, and they break it down here and there, and they're in. I set it up in such a way that it's a little teaspoons of information, little by little, so you can, go down the rabbit hole of what that means. But twin flames are real. They've existed before this planet existed, and we lost our way. We lost our way, and there were multiple things that happened, which I've talked about from Atlantis, but Atlantis wasn't the beginning of our fall. It began like when we were starseeds. That's when it really began. And then it just went fucking upside down from that point on. And then the spiritual lobotomy was just a massive fuckery. It was bad. It was bad. And then religious took their foot and their booted feet and placed it right over our faces, our eyes, our mouths, and crushed our ability to connect spiritually, psychically, and hunted us down like dogs if we dared remember how we would communicate to God, the Creator, and telepathically use our powers. And in levitation also. The shit's real, okay? Finally, because people have cell phones, we're seeing more and more things. But, when you look at the Old Testament of the walls of Jericho with the trumpets, I'm going to use that as an example. Why? Because it's one of the things that actually tells us about sound frequency. So what's the story? I read it, the first and last time I read it, I was 14 years old, but I still remember it. The essence of the story is what? It's about walls that are up. I think there's some kind of war going on, and trumpets are used. So the frequency must be high pitched, or a certain frequency that collapses the walls of Jericho, and then they're able to enter. So when we look at these monoliths, Stonehenge, the pyramids of Giza, which they still can't replicate, I swear to God, today, with AI, all the technology, all that, they still can't replicate the pyramids of Giza still, and they just found some intense constructions beneath those structures, which I mentioned again. But my point to you is that we are coming back to ancient knowledge, lost knowledge, as Billy Carson talks, forbidden knowledge, okay? Knowledge that was forbidden by what? The Catholic Church. Why? Because it would have made us autonomous. Why would they rip the ultimate twin rays, Mary of Magdalena and Yeshua, in writing, but somebody kept a hint of their connection by her being the one who found him when he rose from the grave, from the cave, actually. So my point to you is that we're much more complex as multidimensional beings that words can express. We have more power, more abilities, more magic than we understand. A great movie that my friend Andromeda Flame turned me on to. She insisted I watch it. I watched it twice back to back. It's called The Men Who Stare at Goats. The Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney. Okay? And now I'd known about this, just so you know. I know that the Russians had been working on trying to capture the moments when a person drops their body through camera and through scales to weigh the body when the soul left. I kid you not. And a camera. Well, guess what? They've created a robust computer, and they went ahead and connected to these volunteers who were on their way out, who were going to die. And they were able to, it'll blow your mind, but the Russians have been doing this kind of stuff in science and the soul for decades. Anyway, they were able to tag the soul moving out of its body faster than the speed of light to, I think it was a galaxy or a vector. And you could say, well, the computer made it up. And I could say, they've been doing work like this for decades. They were doing dolphin babies. That's when they were working with pregnant women. And they had big swimming pools. The only article you'll find on that particular study is an article where the women are giving birth in the ocean and the dolphins are coming in. But the study I first read in the 1970s was of massive swimming pools with dolphins putting in pregnant women all through the whole stage of their pregnancy, and these kids were being born with high 20 to 30% higher IQs than the average human being, and they were called dolphin babies. So my point is, they've been on the cutting edge. They pretty much threw away orthodox religions and went into the study of the soul, which I think is wise, in my opinion. So when we talk about twins, and when we talk about how we have been sold what romance needs to look like and how it needs to end up, and how we are given these thirsty traps of desire that keeps us wanting only our twin in a spiral of self-loathing and self-triangulation, comparing yourself to whoever they're with, if they're with anyone at all, right? Or their exes, and all of these things that are so painful. You got to realize that what you have to master is peace. Because in peace, you realize that no matter what, you've always been with your twin. You always found each other. The separation, when I said the horror, because it's a horror, right? What if I told you you'll be in separation with your twin for 500 years? You'd freak the fuck out. You go, oh my God, I can't. But in timelines of human time, 500 years is dire. I'm not going to lie. But when you are out of these bodies, the acceptance and the transcendental joy of allowing each of us to have our experiences and realizing no matter what, my twin and I, we're bonded. We share the silver cord. No one, nothing can break it. Not even these temporary incarnations of addiction and self-sabotage and cheating and lying and stealing, whatever the hell it is. And so quite often what you find yourself falling in love with isn't, and I said this in a video recently, isn't the actual persona of the human being staring back at you, like the ego, right? Let's call him Tom or Joe. Let's call him Joe. And Joe is kind of a player, and Joe has addictions, and Joe sabotages. And just when you guys are doing great and the sex is off the charts and it's healing and it's transcendental, in fact, it's mind-blowing, he runs. But Joe's soul knows who you are. He doesn't know how to say it. He doesn't even know why you're who you are to him. And he keeps coming back. Why? Because he can't breathe without you. Why? He doesn't know it either. He wants to know, is this real? Did I make it up? Is this a lie? Am I just obsessed? And these problems, and their problems, are exacerbated by the system that we live in. The system of survival. The system that laughs at that kind of vulnerability. The system of people who look at you like, I don't understand, it's just a guy, plenty of fish in the sea. Why can't you get over it? So astral, when you go and, curious how you learned this knowledge. I lived it. Plus I meditate, but I meditate and I lived it. And I've been, it's a journey. You'll know it too. In fact, you already know. Well, I know you know. Let me see what else. I understand this as well as a soul, and this feels refreshing here outside of self, denying our spirit self. So we fall in love with their higher self. We don't fall in love. We continue the love we've always had to their higher self, their truest self. Okay? The word falling in love is falling in lust. I'm no longer in love with you means I don't want to fuck you anymore. It really does. That's what it means. I don't want to be in bed with you. I don't desire you anymore. I feel like you're my brother, my sister. I'm not interested in you. No, this is not that. You see, this is not human stories, the twin flame or twin ray. It's, I love you. I've always loved you. I will love you when new planets are formed. I will love you when stars fall. I will love you when new suns come into play. I will love you when species are born and this species is gone, and I will be incarnating with you in new species. I will always love you. I will never forget you. And the minute you set your eyes on them, or maybe a week after, or what have you, or the kiss seals the bond, activates your memory, I love you. And it's not like you know them that well to say that. Separate, I fell in love. I fell in love is something you experience with a soulmate. I love you from the point of infinity and beyond. Our story together has been written in the Akashic records from the time we took our first breath together and we were cleaved in half. It's different. It's a different love. And because of it, it's very triggering. It activates the chakras. It's soul memory. It shakes you up. And unfortunately, unless you've done the soul's excavation of yourself, and even then to be, because I don't want you to be hard on yourself, even then you're going to have moments where you're in complete darkness as to what the fuck is going on. And you'll have to determine if this is real or not. And there will be false, I'm going to call it only once, false twins. False twins, first of all, they're not twins. I don't even know why people call it that, but I'm using that word so we get on the same conversation. False twins are high-level soulmates where you've been lovers a lot. And there were betrayals and fuckeries and suicides and all kinds of shit that created this bond that is a trauma bond on a spiritual level. And it's not there to punish you. It's there for you to look at this with a person and go, oh, wait, hang on, we're looping. It's not, even that's not the same as twin, though it can be easily confused as twin, but there are certain signs you'll see that you will not have with this person. Telepathic communication. Synchronicities that are unmatched to anyone you've ever had. and they'll confirm it with you. Your twin will confirm it. Whether they do it consciously or they go, oh my God, that's what happened to me. Like you're comparing notes. Now, can you have telepathy with other people? Sure. Will you see people's numbers that really mean a lot to you? Sure. But with your twin, it's unhinged. And it doesn't matter if they're alive or gone or not. There's certain things that continue. So astral connection is really important to do while you're alive. Telepathy is very important to develop while you're alive. And playing little games when things are good, like little games, just is very important to develop while you're alive. And playing little games when things are good, like little games, just to see, just to test it out. The problem with most people that are in the 3D loop, they might be 4D aware, but they're living the 3D life on a constant, is that when things are good, they don't do these things. They don't try to astral project communication with their twin. They don't try to telepathically communicate with their twin. They only do that shit when they're fucking in separation, when shit is really bad, and they're in desperation to hear or get any type of crumbs from their twin, any communication, any sign. And I'm telling you that that's not the way. So what's important is for you to do the work when things are good, so when things fall apart, you've established a contact point. You know what I'm saying? A contact point so that when you do separate, whether it's from a fight or they're running or they're ghosting you because you're triggering them on multiple levels, you're scaring the shit out of them. And they've never been scared by a woman, or this woman has never been scared by a man, or same gender, it doesn't matter, right? And suddenly you're making them feel things that they've never felt before. And I mean, not just the love and the mushiness and all of that. I'm talking about stuff like questioning their existence, questioning their incarnation, questioning why they feel the way they do, and why they do things that they do, and why they're choosing things, and why they live like they do. You're making them just breathing in the same room, questioning everything. And because a twin gets connected to another twin, the twin makes the other twin want to be better. Both of you start stepping into a higher power, to be better, to look better, to be more powerful physically, to be better, hopefully spiritually, hopefully. But if you're not doing that with your twin, if you're not trying to advance on a spiritual level with your twin, you're kind of missing the point of these connections. You're missing, these connections, this incarnation of you having the gift of being simultaneously incarnated with your twin, as opposed to what it was quite often. You'd incarnate, you'd be a farmer's wife, he'd be your husband or whatever. You'd have a nice passive life. Things happen, and then Attila the Hun would come over the hill and slaughter the whole village, including you and your twin, for example. Shit like that was happening. I mean, this was normal, okay? Unfortunately. But when you are now able to have the gift to live in countries where you can afford the peace, to learn, to be like a Plato or an Aristotle or Socrates, what it means is fucking read philosophy, read about the ancient histories, read about why reincarnation is a fact. Why is it a fact? Read about manifestation. How does it really work? Read about frequency sound. Why can it harm? Why can it hurt? Why can it heal? Why can it harm? Frequency sound. Why is that going to help you with your twin? Because you're not here to kick rocks. You're no longer a farmer's wife and he's a farmer to have a simple life. This is the ascension. And the ascension is burning as much karma, whether you remember it or not, but willing to burn it. In other words, saying, whatever I need to understand that's holding me back, bring it to me. Whatever can't come through, I probably don't need it. And trusting that. Can you imagine putting someone in front of a screen and having them watch 8 million movies all at once? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for you either. That means you can't see all the incarnations you've had. You don't need to see all the incarnations you've had. What you need to see is the ones that do come through, and you need to very carefully excavate them, as carefully as an archaeologist at a sacred site. You know, with a little brush and a little spray of water, and carefully look at things and go, yes, I keep repeating this pattern. Okay, I'm not going to. Okay, let me see what I can do to stop the looping of this pattern. Be it jealousy, greed, whatever it is. Depression, self-loathing, second-guessing, overgiving to non-givers. I have no problems with people overgiving to overgivers, but don't overgive to people who wouldn't even fucking help you with gas money if you were stuck in the middle of somewhere. You want to overgive to someone who, if you call them at 3 o'clock in the morning because you're stuck somewhere, they'd be there. And some overgivers overgive because they have no self-worth. They want to show their value. Mommy, mommy, see me. Daddy, daddy, see me. I'm worthy. I'm better than her. I'm better than him. And that's the unhealed, hurting child that overgives to show its values. You see, I'm loyal. I'll be there for you. I'll do whatever you need me to do. And I'm not saying let go of someone who needs your help. I'm saying sit with it and ask yourself, should I? And why should I? There's a time to overgive and there's a time to withhold. But both reasons should be done out of compassion, not out of desperation to be shown so that they see your value. Because people who don't overgive, people who are cold, they'll never see your value. It's a bottomless pit. So you can help your twin when it's time. But you have to make sure also that you're kind to yourself and kind to your inner child. And make sure that your twin will also give. And if your twin can't give, and if you're the one constantly showing up, then there's an imbalance. And if this continues, whether you want to or not, the universe will rip you apart. Because even the universe understands the injustice of that. The universe will not have it. If you can't fucking give that up, the universe will give you a tower moment. And you'll go, what the fuck? The other aspect that's very interesting about the dynamics of the masculine and the feminine, which a lot of women are shamed, is that when a man, I'm just going to bring it up like this, when a man is cheating, and there's multiple ways of cheating. There's actually cheating, going to bed, stripping down and going to bed with someone. There's flirting with someone that, in the office where you're flirting, and there's insinuous kind of, promises that'll never happen, but it's happening. There's a lot of heightened sexuality. And then there's porn, okay? And all of these consciousness are low vibrational. They'll strip the union of twins. No shit. And so when a woman finds out, because she'll feel it, especially a twin. For Christ's sake, you're telepathic. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel sexual energy. You're going to feel something off. You're going to feel, and it's going to really bother the hell out. It's going to hit you in the body. It's going to hit you in the heart. It's going to hit you in the root chakra. It will. So anyway, you'll do it. So a woman, and this is the message for the men, a woman, there's not one woman alive. I don't care how sweet she is. I don't care how humble she is. There's not one woman alive who will not find out if you're cheating on her in some way. She'll find out. She's going to be the FBI and the CIA. And when a woman knows and she asks you and you still deny it with lies, even if she has the evidence, whether you're a twin or a high-level soulmate, you have just ruptured her heart, and she will never she will make love to you in desperation, but she will never trust you again. And the worst thing men do, twin or not, is they lie. Even in the face of the evidence, if there's anything that men should collectively understand and teach each other, brothers, fathers to sons, friends, is not to fucking do that with a woman. Because if she's asking you, she already has the answer. And this energy, in particular with twins, is that the woman will feel a third party in the bed. It's a ghost, but it's an energy, and she feels it. And in particular, that's true with twins. I don't care if the twins are masculine feeling it or feminine. Because let's be honest, there are twin masculines who are divine masculines, and their twin flame feminine wants all the daddy. She's got daddy. She wants everyone to fucking love her. She wants everyone to admire her. And she will do some pretty fucked up things. And he will feel it. And he will feel unsafe. And because he's a masculine, he will get angry and frustrated. And he might not do the FBI, CIA shit, but he'll feel it. And a man on that level that's being lied to, he'll never trust you ever. I mean, it's even harder for a man. He will never trust that woman ever again. It's fucking over, basically. And it's not worth it. In my opinion, it's just not worth it. And so when flirting in a twin, and it does happen. This is why it's called twin flame, not twin ray. It's called twin flame because you're burning karma, flame, burning. So when that happens, and then you're going tit for tat on them flirting, I'll flirt on with his friend. And it's like you're snowballing bullshit. You have to put your foot on the brake and go, yeah, we're not doing this. If you want to do it, little boy or little girl, go on. Let me know when you're done with your games and maybe we'll talk. And maybe we won't. I'm not sure. And so there are people right now, as we speak, who are deciding not to take their twins' bullshit for another week, much less another year. And it's not because they don't love the twin, but it's because the pain has been so horrific. And also they've gone through the dark night of the soul, burning the karma of their fever, right? So that they climb out the other side of that, like a phoenix rising, realizing that they've actually felt a spark of self-preservation that turns into self-love. And that self-love gives them a sense of peace. Remember the word peace? And they're not going to have their peace fucked by a twin much. It doesn't matter anymore. If their twin can't come to them in the right way, the twin doesn't have to come fully healed. Don't get me wrong. The twin that's giving boundaries isn't saying, you got to come to me 100% healed. No. The twin is saying, you got to be 25% different than you were, transformed. And you got to show me what you've done. What are you reading? What are you doing? What's changing you? Why are you changing? What happened? And if that's the case, right, then the twin flame who's set up boundaries because of the self-love is finally taking root in their heart chakra, then yeah, they'll do another turn. They'll do another turn. Some of you will not be able to do that. I'm just going to lay it out. Because some of you are still dealing with the amazing, unhinged pain of separation. Even the nectar of their voice gives you a spiritual B12 shot. And I will not ever shame you on that. I understand. It's a process to get to what I just discussed. Some of you also know that this is the ascension time, and you know, it's almost like your soul knows, we have to make this work. Like somehow, some way, yeah, we're going to separate, fuck him for now, and when I've gotten my strength and my footing, I'm going to reach out to him again. And sure enough, twins never say, I swear to God, most twins don't say no unless they're massively addicted to something, which creates a barrier in their third eye and their heart chakra, to be honest, and all chakras, but in particular those two. So in that case, they might shut you out. But for the most part, some of you will decide, and you won't know why. It's almost like somebody's grabbing you by the scruff of your neck, pushing you towards your twin, saying, yeah, you guys have shit to do. You can't keep playing like little games. And how does that work? Well, you'll bump into your twin in an airport. You'll bump into your twin I mean, you live in the same town and you never bumped into them ever for the whole year you were separated, and suddenly you're fucking seeing them. You're driving behind their car. They're walking into the store while you're checking out. Shit like that. Fun stuff like that. Real fun. That makes you, and you'll see a lot of synchronicities and so forth. Let me see. No more BS, right? Damn, have you wrote a book or class? No, but I'm working on it. Maybe I did find mine because I fainted twice and I hit my head. You sound like a movie. Oh, thank you, Letty. I'm glad you're here, by the way. What's that word mean? I don't know what you mean. You'll have to ask me again. I'll look it up. Be something. I don't know. I finally at peace 4 years later. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that. Like a vitamin B12 shot. Oh, yeah, like a vitamin B12 shot for the spirit, for the soul. Yeah, because what happens when you meet when you first meet your twin, I don't know if this is true for you, but I know for me, the voice of my twin was like a waterfall of bliss. And apparently, because he told me, he felt like my voice was an angelic voice, like he loved my voice. So both of us were like standing in bliss, hearing each other's voices, just absorbing. And it was a soft, sweet activation of, do you remember? Do you remember? And that was before we physically met again after years. So, and I have noticed that some twins have told me that the voice of their twin is the nectar to their ears. And so sometimes when you're in separation and you first hear their voice, it's like a B12 shot to the soul. You're like, oh, wow, you feel so good. And you're literally glowing. Your features will change. I kid you not. Because of the nectar of their voice has upgraded your everything. And you look like they've made love to you. And yet they're 3,000 miles away or 1,000 miles away or whatever, right? Or just 100 miles away. They haven't touched you. In fact, you haven't made love in months. But suddenly, as you continue your conversations, week by week, month by month, you'll look like you've been made love to. And it's an extraordinary realization to witness for the self. It's really interesting. So, any questions on that, on anything else? Oh, I love his voice. I shine when I hear his voice. Mine tells me almost every day that he loves my voice. Exactly. Yes, he told me over and over, it's so good to hear your voice. We were on the phone. It's entering the bubble, you're saying. Very good. It is. It's entering a bubble. And it's a bubble that is very healing. It's like remote healing. This is what people don't... Listen, I loved my high-level soulmate's voice, right? I thought it was beautiful, right? But it was not a healing balm for me. My twin's voice was the only voice that felt like I was healed in that moment and giddy. And this never ended, even in anger. Even if we were like angry. I mean, I didn't want to fight, but neither does he, but we would go at it and hang up. And even that was a massive activation that would create scars. So it was very much like frequency healing. Remember I said frequency can heal or harm? But ultimately, what would always happen, and what happens with twins, is that they'll come back. If they are given a lifespan of a certain amount of years on this planet, they will come back. And if they die, they'll come back. They'll come back and visit you in your dreams. You will know they came. You will know, without a doubt. And so if you can practice astral communication with your twin and astral visitations and all of that while you both are alive, you'll go a lot farther. Because people feel, right, My twin died of an overdose. My twin died of self-harm, whatever, right? And it's horrible, right? But if you've already practiced what I said, you'll be able to either communicate with them directly, or you'll be able to see the stages of their journey on the other side of the veils. I'm not kidding. You'll be able to map it out, write it, and journal it. And while you're in meditation asking, you'll see what they're doing. In me doing that, I saw not one life review, as we've been taught, multiple life reviews. The first life review is all of it. The second life review is saying, well, let's look at what happened when you were 33. Who did you meet? Why did you do that? Pulling down the Akashic records. These are 3 ways you could have done that instead. Why didn't you think of that? And there's no judgment. I'm saying how, I'm paraphrasing what the light beings would do. There's a gentleness to that. There's no judgment to that. More likely they would say, here are the things, here were the options available to you had you been in different consciousness. What prevented you from seeing that this was possible? And in that journey of life reviews, pulling that, let's talk about when you were 47. In June to the end of September, these were the things happening. May we go deeper there. So life reviews are really important and really interesting to me because, again, everything's linear. The way we've been taught, spiritually speaking, is just, it's plunk. You do this, you go to the light, you go life review, then you miss you hang out with your friends. And but it's a lot more complex than that. Because especially, and probably even more complex, because we are going through the ascension and we are doing, us who are spiritualists, which would mean you if you're listening to me, right? Is you're curious about what's the next step, what's going on, why is there a possibility that I will not be in union with my twin? God forbid. There's a possibility for some of you. And what would be the steps I could take to make at least sure that the last week of my incarnation or their incarnation, we can be together? Is that possible? And how can I make that happen? And why is this important to me? When I think about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, to be fair, which is the only blueprint we have of the divine couple bastardized through nefarious means, for like these a power struggle with Constantine as bishops, right? Why do that? Why would they have the Essenes running with jars and burying them in the in the caves of Sinai? Why? So when you look at this and you realize that even this divine couple, twin rays, right? I would call them twin rays. This ultimate divine couple was prevented to live in peace. Because together they were powerful. There's no question. If you start reading the Gnostic Gospels, you start reading the Gospels of Mary, the Gospels, you start realizing, holy shit, what the hell was this? And why? Which is a very good question. Why? And I always talk about that. Why? I did a whole live, which you may want to look for on my YouTube, on why we are feared. Why are twins feared in divine union? Why are we feared by certain powers? Why? And it's a question I explored in that video. I'm not going to go really into it there because I already did it. But so really, as you travel your twin flame journey, it isn't just your bubble. Sure, you get the nectar of the bubble, of their voice, of the kiss, of the sex, of the intimacy, of the incredible healing and the trembling of old things falling away from both of you. And also the grief of them running from this incredible magic. There's that, okay? Or maybe you're running. Be honest, okay? Because I know I ran. I was a runner. And so, are you a runner? Be honest. Have you been the runner? I had a client who ran. Do you know why she ran? Because people had told her that I'm just gonna make it up for a minute because it was less than that. That the 9 years age difference they had, he was younger, made them uncomfortable. 9 years. Who gives a shit? In fact, one of the hallmarks of twins is age difference. Mine was 15 years older than me. Race difference. We're from different backgrounds and different races. Cultural understanding, completely different. I was raised in Europe. He was raised in upstate. But the philosophies we had on spirituality was very similar. There were a couple holes here and there, but nothing that could be fixed. And were fixed. It took years. But, so, you know, she cared about what fucking people cared about. She cared about her, and it's not her fault. It's not a weakness. Our incarnations have trained us to do as we were told. Especially in the last 3,000 years. Especially. Do exactly what we're telling you, or else you will be harmed in some way, or we will harm those you love. It's that simple. You can't blame people. So, she said no to her twin because of that. And people do it all day long. I can't be with you. You're Muslim, I'm Jewish. I can't be with you. You're 15 years younger than me, and I'm a woman, and my kids, my grown adult kids, are going to treat me like shit. And the reasons stack itself onto the other. So it's always people pleasing. And fear. Fear is actually everything. And then, of course, if you've shut down your twin, and in particular your masculine twin, when you're ready to come back, 9 times out of 10, they are lashing out at you like a feral animal, refusing for you to ever hurt them like that again. Can you blame them? So they shut you down. They block you in all. And can you blame them? You've gone through the dark night of the soul. You know what that feels like. And for a man, it's particularly much harder. Because unlike women, we have at least 3 girlfriends we can talk about. They might not understand your twin flame journey. In fact, they probably think you're babbling. But you can talk to them. You can talk to them until 3 o'clock in the morning. Whereas men, plenty of fish in the sea. That's their answer. Let's go fishing, hunting. Let's go bar hopping. P-U-S-S-Y everywhere, my friend. Well, I mean, she's good looking, but she's not the best looking woman you've been with. That's how men talk to each other. And it doesn't help. Because at that point, the masculine twin feels ashamed. Because the logic of it, in his mind, can't be argued. Well, yeah, sure, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Yeah, I've been with better looking girls than her. What the fuck am I obsessed with? But he comes back. And he comes back because without the twin feminine, he can't breathe. Just like you can't breathe, he can't breathe either. If this is a real twin flame journey, if you can't do it, he can't do it. If he can't do it, you can't do it. That's how you can kind of tell it's a twin. Typically, and there's other things that go into it, and I don't tell anyone on my lives, not because I'm trying to be coy, I don't give a shit. It's because I don't want you to come to me as a potential client knowing what I'm looking for. There's other things I'm looking, and I keep it private, and then I tell the client, I go, well, I was looking for that, or that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I just keep it that way because, but many of you, just like me, will be able to figure it out on your own. But don't be delulu, okay? Don't go delulu on yourself. Because I had a guy who I met, and I talk about this all the time, and he was definitely not a twin. But when we stared at each other, the room fell away. But something told me, because see, the room fell away, and then he would look in my lips, because I wear red lipstick. He would look in my mouth, and lick his lips, and I would look at it and see a bullfrog, and I'm not kidding. And I went, wait, hang on, that is not should be the image that I see. So I would get a message of great sensuality and attractiveness, and something that would just go, eh. And so I've told you guys this story before, those who follow me. It's on my lives. If you look, you'll find it eventually. I went to a hypnotherapist, 4 past lives, 4 suicides. And I was done. Thank God I never jumped in bed. And a lot of people jump in bed with people who they mistake sexual attraction for the it. And the sexual attraction is the attention you need. This is how the spiritual guides that we have realize that we have karma to clear. So what are they going to do with an ex-lover that's fucked us over and over? Well, they're going to bring us them back, attracting us sexually, and we're going to get like clashing energies about the situation. And if we're smart, we're going to go to a hypnotherapist and go, what the fuck is that? As opposed to jumping in bed and going back in a karmic loop that creates a tower moment. Sex is the lure, especially ex-lovers from past lives. So the irony, there's a term which I detest called twin flame catalyst. There's no catalyst. There's old lovers that have been looping in your past lives that you need to clear the energy to open the door to your twin, even if you met your twin beforehand, before anyone. Ex-lovers from past lives will return, like Mercury retrograde, energy. They'll return in this incarnation, and you need to analyze, is this a lover for fun, or is this a massive karmic shit that is going to use sex to, sideswipe me without me seeing what's happening. Sex to, sideswipe me without me seeing what's happening. So you have to, and that's not to be frigid. Trust me, I've had my moments when I was a young girl, definitely. But it's still, be honest with yourself. Just like some men that I've talked to, I have clients who are men and friends that are masculines, like little brothers, and my little brothers. And we talk about this stuff because I'll say, you know that if it's not right, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't matter how hot she is. The sex is shit, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, no, you're right. It's like, okay, so why fucking do it? And so that's why you do have masculines who are twins who are celibate. And because we've been taught as women to think all men are pigs, all men cheat, all men this, all men that. No, not all men. Some men actually can't stomach going to bed with another woman. It doesn't matter how hot she is. To the point where we have famous men going celibate, like, oh shit, I forgot his name. He's a rock star. He's a biracial rock star. Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz. Because after a while, no matter what, it's crap. You need to have a soul connection. I was the runner. He was the chaser. Jesus. I'm definitely the runner in my connection. He's 11 years younger than me. Yeah, you got to figure it out. We have telepathy from the first time we met. Fantastic. I believe I was the runner because I didn't want to bother anyone. Oh, my love. That's not good. I would absolutely never do that. If they are a different color or religion, it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, but that's you. Thank God for you, by the way, Valerie. Russell Brand also talks about celibacy. Yeah, because he's been fucked over. Katy Perry, this and that. I think some men are finally realizing sometimes how they look doesn't mean that they're good people. What an idea. It's like multiple times the ground was shaking. My head went all black and I got suddenly cold and scared. Oh, okay, you got to look that up. I'm going to tell you a story about a dream I had when I was 19 because it taught me about something, about how people look. I already knew that. Like I would judge people by the look in their eyes. Not the beauty of the eyes, not the color, not the shape of their faces. I looked at their eyes, and if the soul looked dark, felt dark to me, we were done. I didn't care how good looking they were. We were not going any further. But anyway, I had a dream. I'm telling you this dream. It was a flying dream. And all the colors were amazing. And it was like this astral city. or temples, if you will, better yet. And imagine the color of the perfect sunset on steroids. And suddenly, before I know it, I'm in an elevator, which is bizarre. And here comes this beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy. He's about 12. Absolutely the most beautiful child I've ever seen. And suddenly, I look at his eyes, and I went, oh my God, this is like the devil personified. A demon had walked into my elevator. And the reverberation of the inner voice or guidance said, never look at someone's beauty. Look at their energy. Never believe that their beauty tells you everything. Look at their energy. And their energy is more important. So sometimes what I tell people to do is I tell them to close their eyes to listen to people. Close your eyes. If you're on the phone with someone, close your eyes and listen to them. Listen to their energy, the frequency. Selma Hayek said something that was, I thought, fucked up, because I don't believe her. She said, if somebody calls you names in a different language, you don't know that they're calling you names, so why get upset? And I'm like, no, chick, baby girl. You listen to the energy. It doesn't matter what language it is said. If something is spewed out with evil intent, you hear the energy. You don't need to understand the language. But energetically speaking, you know that they're calling you names. And sure, of course, it shouldn't harm you. But the point is, you know. And you know not to trust those people. And you know not to associate with these people. Try not to take advice from people like that. You know, I'm thinking of Naomi Campbell, how beautiful she was. She was one of the top models in the 90s. And she's been known to slap people. And she's been known to be very cruel. In fact, she's known as a cruel woman. You can't deny her beauty, but it doesn't matter. So, similarly, men, divine masculines, are starting to topple this idea that a woman's value is the way she looks. It's more of the way she acts. And the way she acts is what makes her alluring. Fuck the word beautiful. Alluring. Magnetic. Charismatic. But her lips are thin. Yes, but look at her eyes, how they shine. Look at how she walks. It looks like she's walking on water. So divine masculines are learning how to look at women with an inner gaze, to value wisdom and loyalty and the ability to love unconditionally, and all of these aspects, which heightened the sexual connection, the chemistry, right? Above the hot girl. And that wisdom that's starting to take over these amazing men is going to be like the butterfly effect. It's going to start hitting, and different men are going to start to... In fact, today, you can hear certain men on podcasts saying, if a business partner of mine is crowing about cheating, I won't do business with him because I can't trust him, because he's cheating on the most important person in his life. He's definitely going to fuck me out of the deal. Like, I can't trust him. 50 years ago, you would have never in your life heard a man say it. Never. 50 years ago, men were going to the Playboy Mansion and crowing about, and married with children, doing that. That shit's not happening anymore like it used to. Finally, the imbalance is being balanced. Integrity and loyalty is replacing keeping up with the Joneses. You know, the sports figure heroes that have a harem while they're married with 3 kids. Men, more and more men are not looking up to that. There's a lot of men that are still red pillars and they hate women and they're fucked up. I'm not talking about those men. Those men don't even know about reality, about manifestation. They're angry little boys in grown men bodies who can't wait till the robots are affordable so they can abuse the robots. So we're not talking about those men. We're talking about real men. who are coming out of the cave of their own pain to re-architect how to love their twin. And so there are books that I recommend, certain, like I call them primers, right? And I can tell you about those books if you want me to. Let me see what you guys are saying. I don't want to miss anything. Let me see. You were giving so much knowledge right now. Good, I'm glad. That's I just had a conversation with someone. It's energy. It's always energy. Being an anchor. Yes, exactly. And so many men, just so you know, there's something going on that's very interesting right now. Many people, well, we know women, but many men are also celibate. Good looking, gorgeous. Some of them are absolutely, you're like, what the, are you kidding? You're not, and it's like, no, they're not doing it. And they're getting, it's almost like Yeshua and Buddha, 40 days and 40 nights in the fucking woods. And the devil says, if you bow to me, I'll give you everything. And every the most beautiful women in the world, are being sent to Buddha and Yeshua in their particular meditations, and they're saying, no, I will not be owned. I will not go down the rabbit hole. You will not grab my root chakra and own it for eternity. I'm not doing that. So a lot of men are starting to realize that porn is bad. 50 years ago, they would have laughed in your face. 30 years ago, they would have laughed. Oh, porn. Porn was so normalized that when I was 10 years old in the 70s, right? When I was a little kid, I knew almost every father had Playboy and Penthouse in their closet or fucking on the coffee table. I'm not kidding. It was normalized. And today, you will have people collecting old Playboys because there's some, some of the articles were good, but what's happening is that they're realizing that porn is holding them back from their ascension, holding them back from their autonomy, and that it's also fucking up their ability to really get connected to their divine feminine. Okay? And they may not embrace the term twin, but they see this divine feminine as their divine goddess. And they know that if I do porn, if I go to strip clubs, if I do this and that, right? I'm going to dilute the potency of my connection with my divine counterpart, and the sex is going to be off. It's not going to be true. It's going to miss the magic and the healing qualities that it inherently has for each other. And so I'm not going to do that anymore. And there are men right now who are doing that. And there are men right now who are saying, I can't give up the porn. It's an addiction. Like H. Just like that. It's a fucking addiction. And there's a beautiful line. I wish I could give credit to whoever created that line. It's a line that says, we need our men to go into the force, to take the heroic doses, to be crushed, to be imploded. It's almost like an implosion, and to come back to us weeping and humbled. And there's a very big archetype of the ancient warrior who goes into, and there's a very big archetype of the ancient warrior who goes into the woods, who realizes his traumas, trauma of maybe being beaten by his father, trauma of being essayed by someone multiple times, right? And then coming back to the high priestess humbled and letting the high priestess soothe him and listen to him, wail and howl and let it all out, so that it is no longer, that trauma isn't wedged in every cell of his body, in the very blood that runs through his veins, that it's been released forever, that the cords, these weird cords that have kept him entangled are released, transmuted, gone forever. And more men, and I've said this in lives, I said, men should be mad as fuck that anyone owns their root chakra but themselves. You would think it would piss men off, where men would go, fuck that, you're not owning my, you know what, I own it, it's mine. And they don't. They refuse to understand the psyop shit, whether constructed by think tanks or not. Fuck conspiracy theories. Just look at the end result of what it's done to intimacies with women and men. Contrast it with what people were enjoying, say, in the 1870s. Go back another 500 years. And look at how people were enjoying, in spite of the Catholic Church, their sensuality with each other. In some cases, not all cases, obviously, but in some. Go back 2,000 years, 2,500 years, and look at how people loved. Because they did love. And sometimes it was impossible because there were always rules and hierarchies and caste systems and so forth. But they managed. It's almost like we've lost ourselves. Anyway, let me see what other... Do you have any questions or anything like that? Thank you. SA had a huge effect on me, and speaking to those parts has helped me. Porn holds us back. Yeah, porn does. It sure does. They worship their queens and kings. Yeah. I've been celibate for almost 4 years. It's been life-changing. It is. I remember when George Costanza, I mean, I don't like Seinfeld anymore because I think he's a jerk, and he's found... But I remember George Costanza didn't have sex, and he learned Russian, and then he learned this, and he learned that. He was learning all this shit. So there's some positivity to being that. I don't know if you guys remember that episode. So, and the key to celibacy is to stay in your Shakti feminine energy. And it doesn't mean to attract others when I say that. It's to embody the high priestess and whatever that means. And make sure, because I see women doing this shit, they play little games with themselves. This is not to embarrass anyone, but it's to say they'll wear like jockey pants, jockey underwear, and bras, right? And they'll say, yeah, that's all I need. Yeah, but then the minute, because I've done this with women, I've literally said, I bought you something that's really beautiful, and handed it to them, like, here, happy birthday. And I'm like, and then one particular friend, I'll never forget, I bought her this incredible Donna Karan bra with flesh and lace and this and that and push up and this and that. And I said, did you try it at home? She goes, yeah, I love it. I go, what did you think? She goes, I'm turning myself on. I go, well, bingo, that's the point. So if you want to Spartan yourself out to nothing, make sure that it's really your choice. Like that's really what you want. But if you want to be in your Shakti energy, right, which means a more high priestess, more sensuous experience of yourself, then be honest about that too. Like don't lobotomize your sensuality. If you want to, ask yourself, why am I doing that? Am I doing it because I'm afraid? Am I doing it because I'm afraid of desiring? Am I doing it because I'm going to probably, cave and just take a lover? You know what I'm saying? And so explore that inside of you. Like go within yourself and explore that. Some women I know are absolutely sexy as fuck and they don't wear any underwear at all, period, ever. Nothing. There's no bra, there's nothing, okay? And what they adorn themselves is with beautiful lotions and beautiful scents that they love, oils or perfumes they love, and that's what they do. So, like, be true to who you are, but don't become a nun. And what does a nun do? She cuts off her hair. She hides herself in lots of material. She wants to strip away her femininity and become androgynous. She denies her innate sensuality. And we as starseeds are quite sensuous creatures. We are. We're passionate. We love the wind. We love the feel of the sun on our skin or the water. We love the taste of certain foods. We love to live in various realms. And though intimacy is much more extraordinary in the higher realms, they still occur. We don't just become celibate with our twin on the other side of the realms. In other words, this is not the end-all be-all planet. This is a pit stop of learning. This is not, oh my God, what happens if we're on the other side? We're not going to have sex. No, you are. Who do you think invented it? You think they invented it just, the one who created us all just invented it just for the fuck of it? There's so much more layers to our ability to create and our ability to allow ourselves to experience pleasure. And even in fasting, I mean water fasting, juice fasting, there's a pleasure to that once you're able to cross over the Rubicon of the 3 or 4 days that are fucking awful. And then suddenly you get into a stride. Everything has pleasure if we look at it in that way. And the sad part about this particular timeline, and many timelines with the powers that be, is that they've taken what should have been easy, a good school, to learn all kinds of cool things, and made it fucking hell by their decisions. And we have to abide by them. And there comes the spinning cycle of survival, keeping your head above water, twins working 2 jobs or 12-hour days, or wondering what's going to happen, being afraid of being sick because they could lose their job. And if they lose their job, they lose their lifestyle, their livelihood. It's not a joke. It's actually not a joke. I have a particular beautiful divine masculine who style their livelihood. It's not a joke. It's actually not a joke. I have a particular beautiful divine masculine who works the graveyard shift. How do you think that's going to be successful in his connection with his twin? Think about that. And he has to. So many of the infrastructures in place collide with the needs of the divine masculine and feminine to feel free in the way they live and express themselves. Thank you, Barbara. Absolutely. So any other questions? Or thank you, Barbara, for coming to visit. I hope you'll follow me. Any questions or comments? Yeah, please follow me on YouTube. A lot of these lives are on YouTube. Thank you, my love, for following me. Or Oriel. Oriel, is that how you say it? I wonder. Oriel. Let me see what else. So I'm going to go ahead, and you're another group. I had another group earlier today, and I usually don't do that many lives. I'm kind of shocked myself, to be honest. Swear to God. I'm like, I have all this energy, and I'm feeling good about it. Afterwards, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to ask you guys to meditate at least 5 minutes and work on your chakras once we're done with this live. I want you to sit in meditation. I want you to absorb and savor this beautiful energy that we have. And right now, I'm going to do a reading. So tell me what this group needs to understand about their twin. 7 of Wands is defensive energy, fighting for something. The Magician, oh, that's funny. That's the theme we have. And the 10 of Pentacles upside down. So traditional values, 10 of Pentacles means a lot of things, but let's go from the beginning. 7 of Wands is defensive energy, fighting to protect something. Fighting to protect what? The status quo. Fighting yourself, because here comes the Magician saying, what do you want? This is weird because that was the theme in my earlier live today. So apparently this is a twin flame theme. Apparently it's coming up. 10 of Pentacles upside down is there's no legacy. There's no longevity. In other words, you can't fight what is. Ask the universe what you want. Be clear as to what you want. Ask and you shall receive. I said the exact same thing in the last live. You'll see that. 10 of Pentacles is it can't be a legacy. Why can't it be a legacy? What's the problem? A new love is coming. a new form of your love. I remember asking Susan Love. She wrote this book called The Book of Breast, about breast cancer. So I went to the breast cancer symposium. I never had breast cancer. No one in my family had. It's a long story. I'll tell you some other time. But suffice it to say, there I was as an artist. I was one of the invited artists for my work on breast cancer. Okay, so I'm going there. I meet Susan Love. I go up to her and I say, can you tell me advice on what people need to understand about cancer and how to fix their relationship, their marriage? And she said they need to understand that their marriage is dead. The marriage they had before cancer is dead. They need to build a new marriage. Similarly, the way you were with your twin in the beginning of your meeting, and the way your relationship with your twin before you broke up, that relationship is dead. A new one is being birthed, as it should be. Why would you want to save something that collapsed? You want to build something stronger, better, with more clarity, more integrity, more loyalty, right? So in a sense, that's what they're saying. You're not going to hold on to something that didn't work the first time. Why do it? What you want to do, and this is something that you have to understand. When people say, I'm going to save the marriage, save that marriage. Who the fuck wants to save that marriage? That's what made you miserable in the last. No, you're going to build a brand new marriage with new rules of engagement, new ways of approaching things. That's what you're going to do. You're not going to save that marriage. You're going to build a new one. So it's the same premise. What else do they need to understand? Tell me more. Temperance, transformation. The King of Wands is here. The King of Wands to the Five of Pentacles. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is temperance is Angel Michael making a very gentle transformation. It connects with something returning. Okay, the King of Wands is a swaggering energy, a beautiful man. He's very successful, or he's just beautiful. And there's an arrogance. And this arrogance is faulty, because the Five of Pentacles means I feel homeless. So he's putting on a show that everything's fine. Is that correct? The Ten of Swords. Yeah, it's a betrayal. He's betraying himself. So your divine masculine, if he's a runner, let's say he's a runner, or you're a runner, you're putting on a face of everything's fine, but you're hurting. Ace of Cups comes in. It's a lot of love coming in. It's brand new. Into the Two of Cups, divine union. You can't make this shit up. It's like, but this idea that I'm going to act like I don't care, I'm going to act nonchalant, I'm going to act like this, that, and the other. Every detail matters. I'm going to give you a scenario, okay? And I want you to really listen to this. Yep, he's a runner with a mask. Exactly. So let me give you a scenario. So you've been living with your twin for 2 years. In 2 years of living together, you have bought him, or together you've shopped for his favorite food. There are certain foods that you might not want to eat, or you ate it with him, and it's his favorite food. And now you're broken up. And now you're walking in the supermarket, putting shit in the cart and then suddenly you realize, oh shit, that he does, and you start crying. When you meet him again, be transparent. Say, it hurts so bad. It hurts so bad. And you're not begging him. You're not saying shit. You're not saying, oh, please don't leave me. Please come back. You're saying, it was so bad, us breaking up, that I would go shopping and buy, not even knowing, automatically buying food you loved. And I'd have to take it out of the cart, sobbing. My body remembered what you loved. And it's not something I wanted. But I remembered that was your favorite cracker, your favorite soda, your favorite, and I have to put it back. I literally have to go back to the aisle and return it because you weren't living with me anymore. So what I'm trying to say to you is, being transparent doesn't mean you're welcome at. Being transparent is the eyes of the tiger. You look at them dead in the eyes and you say, you hurt me. This hurt me bad. And this is what it looked like to be in that kind of pain. You're not begging them. And that will make them vulnerable. That will make them realize, oh shit. And they might actually release what they went through, so that both of you can be from a place of transparent vulnerability, to give each other a chance to build something new that isn't based on a swaggering energy. I'm good. Are you good? Yeah, I'm fine. You know, and that's going to be very important, because what I see in many readings, I'll see the Emperor and the King of Wands, which is a very strong energy of, yeah, I'm good. But then next to that, I'll see Nine of Swords, I'll see Eight of Swords, and I'll see Five of Pentacles. In other words, what's happening is this person is fucking hurting, but they've got the stoicism in front of it, like a massive mask, a smiling face, and behind that face, he's fucking sobbing like a 9-year-old. Okay? And that's really important. It's really important to understand. And men need to understand that in being vulnerable, you're not begging. If this chick doesn't see your value, if this chick wants the attention of every man in the planet, I want to be the most beautiful woman in the world. Good luck with that. Because there's always going to be a better looking one. In other words, there are women that constantly want attention. And you can't win that battle. You can't. Just like there are men who want attention. They need adulation. It's interesting, isn't it? And they don't understand that they will be the loneliest 67-year-olds, if they live that long, but let's say they do, ever. Because reality is that it's just false adulation that lasts maybe an hour, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe you have an affair out of that. And then it collapses. And this is something that we as in the spiritual community have to talk to people about. Heal your shit. If you need to be applauded by strangers to feel okay, you got problems. And you need to heal that shit. It makes sense, right? I never understood that. I always thought that it would be important to let him know how I felt when he left. We are in separation. It is important to let him know. It is important, whether it's anger. In other words, one of the things I notice in twin flame relationships is women are afraid of losing their twin. First of all, it's never going to happen. You may lose them for 10 years. I know my twin and I, we were in separation for 27 years, but it wasn't painful because I was 18 and he was 33, and we weren't going to, I was like, yeah, I have other things to do. And it was, I did a lot of meditations on that. And there was a soul contract. And it was supposed to be like that because it wouldn't have worked out. I already know that. I wish I could tell you different, but it wouldn't have worked out. So there was that for us. But there was a separation that harmed him more than harmed me. Because again, I was hyper-focused on the business of raising my child. And he was in the hyper-focus of having me in union. And I was not. So when we finally got together and shit exploded, because he'd gone through a lot in separation with me, a lot of painful stuff, and he was, like many men are, an ice cold rage had fallen over him, and he didn't know how to articulate it. He denied it, and he ran from it, as a man. And he was a very strong, powerful man, don't get me wrong. He was not a weak fuck at all, but the way he kept his strength together and power was to never be more, in other words, he could never go to a certain point of vulnerability. He couldn't do it. And eventually the universe said, oh yeah, buddy, yeah, here we go, get ready. And he one by one lost his power, physical power to even speak. And so what I would say to men, warning, get your shit together. Because if you're a twin, and you are, or a high level, whatever the think you are, fuck the label, whatever you think it is, okay? If there's a woman you can't get your mind out of, and you're looping and you're trying to bury your sexuality in other women's bodies, and it's not working, and you know it, and you keep denying the situation, and you keep fucking with it, and you are in this union, which means you're on the ascension train, whether you know it or not consciously, and you keep And the universe will allow you to have free will, even to your own demise, even to your own self-destruction. That is the law of the universe. But at some point, your soul will cannibalize itself. Your soul will start gnawing on itself. And it will create challenges that will humiliate you, humble you, whatever it takes. Because you're breaking a contract, a divine meeting. And it's not karma, it's not punishment, it just, the soul's going, what the fuck are you doing, man? We discussed this before you came here to incarnate, to meet her, to do this. What are you doing? And so there will be, and I've seen it again and again and again. One of the things, it isn't just my experience, it's seeing it. And the beautiful thing about me and my twin is we went into union, everything was good, and then he got sick, and during his illness, I took care of him, and we went through a massive recalibration and awakening, and we graduated. And I remember, I'll never forget sitting by his bed, his deathbed, and saying, we made it. And he smiled and nodded at me, like something energetically went ba-boom, like clicked. And we were home free, or so I thought. And then in my spiritual meditations, after he dropped his body, I started connecting with him astrally and talking to him and seeing I still do every day, and seeing the journey and seeing what we could map out for the next incarnation we're going to have on other realms, and how it would look, and self-worthiness, and letting go of contracts, of toxic soul contracts. And it's not what you think. Most people think that this is the life and this is it. It's like reading a book. You go from chapter 8 to chapter 9. You're in this body in chapter 8. Your name is Joe. And by the time you're in chapter 9, you're no longer living on this planet in this body called Joe. But the story continues. And to understand this in a visceral way is magnificent for your evolution. Because at that point, you can become transcendental. At that point, you can sit back. At that point, you can be totally vulnerable and say, this is how I feel, but don't piss in my parade, dude. Like, you're my twin, but fuck the fuck off. At that point, you can have boundaries. I love you, baby, but don't come here with this. Here's some books I want you to read. Let's read them together. Let's read them out loud. Let's do Audible. Let's go on a hike. Let's make love in the snow, in the rain, in the beach. Let's heal. Don't fucking run again. Don't sabotage your happiness. Do you want to win or do you want to lose? It's like suddenly you become confident that no matter what happens, as long as you're not coming from a place of ego and bullying and trying to control the free will, as long as you're here, let's do it. Let's work. Let's have fun while we're working. You're gonna make it. And you can't lose your twin. Trust me, it's impossible. That's why cord cutting doesn't work at all. The only thing you can actually cord cut is karmic, entanglements from each other. That's about it. So that means that the good thing about cord cutting with a twin is you're actually cutting all the crap out. And what remains is clear channels until more crap gets laid up on that, more calcification, more triggering, more. And why is it so intense? Why aren't we like twin rays? Well, because we're fucking not. I mean, unless you got your shit together and you're kumbayaing and you're able to manifest and you're really, you live a peaceful consciousness on the daily practice, and you're generous in your heart because abundance is around you and you trust implicitly the universe. And there's a lot more aspects to this besides what I just said, obviously. Just think of Mary Magdalena. And suddenly you're realizing, oh, that's why we're not a twin ray, because we're constantly fighting over who has power. It's a power trip. And when a man says, I will not stop, watching porn, or denies the porn, right? Denies it. I'm not doing it. And you're like, no, you're doing it. No, I have evidence. And he continues to lie over something that's in your, it's like, what the fuck is, here it is. And insists that what you're seeing is not real, right? Then this person is either, I'm going to be blunt, sorry, okay, a coward, doesn't realize that they are actually want to lose. They don't even know to the level of deep depression they're under, because they want to lose. Because when you're caught red-handed like that, whether it's that or something else, a person with integrity, or a person that is here to win. What does that mean, winning? It means fucking winning in spirituality, ascending, having it all, spiritually speaking, physically speaking, being healthy, with a beautiful beloved that adores you, that walks beside you. You have her back, she has yours, and you're not going to let any influence of any kind fuck it up. Not your mother, not your father, not her father, not social media, not anything. And not your obsessions with things that harm you. And if a man doesn't want to evolve into realizing this is harming me, this is actually making me forget things, or this is making me no longer be able to, I don't have the ability to make love to my woman anymore because of porn, or I can't make love to my woman anymore because I'm a drunk, or I can't do XYZ because I'm addicted to X, Y, and Z. And it's not, addictions are not easy, but addictions are an example of not wanting to be here. It's a starseed trap. We remember what it was like to be at peace. We remember home. Homes we can't name. Not just on other planets, but here, right here on this planet. We had homes where things were good. And they're no longer there. They're gone. And there's a grief, a homesickness. And for some masculine twins and some feminines, it turns into a looping, not to mention the trauma they had as children, maybe not even in this life, but other incarnation. There's a repeating pattern of certain things not forgotten, they develop addictions to forget. So if a man is spending his time, which I see this as a problem with the millennials and the Gen Xers, computer games. And it's one thing to play a computer game here or there, right? But when you are insane over your computer game, when you can you've got to do your 2 to 3 hours a day, you're escaping this planet. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But if you really want to escape this planet, if you really don't want to be in 3D, you want to return in 5D when this planet's in 5D and rocking and rolling and beautiful and everything we know it's going to be. It is actually from other souls that have crossed over in the realm of 5D already. If you don't want to be in 3D, if you don't want to live the Mad Max reality, you're going to unplug from the matrix that has you trapped and looping in all screen times that keep you fucking looped. You're a slave. And that should piss you off. It should piss you off enough to say, I remember my son was all into games, all of them, 8 years old, 9 years, these little, I forgot the fucking names of the games. But I remember in the back of the cartridge, and I would buy them because, who am I? What am I, fucking, going to be an asshole mom? No. So I bought him the games. He earned whatever, and I'd buy him a game. But on the back of the game, it said something very interesting. All of them said it. All of them. Because I made him read it. I said, please read that on the back. And on the back it said, can cause seizures. By the time he was 10, we were having a garage sale. He took all his cartridges, his board game, all. He said, I want to sell them. I go, I'm so proud of you. And he sold all his fucking games. It took 2 years for him to look at the back and realize, wait, hang on. It can cause seizures. So fuck seizures. What else can it do to my brain? What is it wiring in my thinking process? What is it doing to the way I am emotional? What is it doing to my spiritual autonomy? Because you see, your spirit resides in this body that unfortunately has to deal with this monkey mind. So 8 years old, he's buying the games. By 10, he's no longer, he sold them all. And he kept the money. We bought a skateboard. A really nice skateboard, kick-ass skateboard, and a helmet. And that replaced the fucking video games. So men need to really deconstruct who's owning their root chakra, who's owning their ability to have wonderful, intimate connection with their beloved, and what they're running from. What are you running from? You're running from being molested? Don't. Because as long as you run from that, that person still owns you. They're probably a ghost. They probably don't even live anymore, but they still own you. They own you. And that should be enough for you to actually look at it and deconstruct it, transmute it, and fucking release it. Rather than allowing it to be a monkey in your back into your grave. That's what men need to learn how to do. Women who come to the level of high priestess are either they've done that or they're doing that. They come facing the monsters, the shadows. And they do it when they're fed up with their lives. They do it with a ferocity that would scare most people. Because they're fucking, yeah, you're not owning me. Not another fucking hour if I can, motherfucker. I mean, they're angry. Because this trauma has ruined them. But it won't ruin them another year. 2025 is a year where your ass is out of my fucking head. I can't tell you how many people have gone through this kind of trauma. How unbelievably, sadly common it is. And part of the twin flame runner chaser, that's part of the issues that men, in particular men, women, I don't have to worry about too many women not doing it, but I do worry about men not doing it. Men do not do it. There was a movie with Clive Owens. It's about a guy who, his brother's a drug dealer, right? And he fucks up. And they SA him. Okay? The next scene, he's in the bathtub and he ends his life. And the movie is based on, why would my brother do that? Like, because he doesn't know what happened to bring his brother to do that, to end his life. All he knows is his brother ended his life. And so he starts investigating what happened. Because it made no sense. So, women, you need to get more sensitive to some of these somatic telltale signs of how your twin reacts to you in bed, in all kinds of things. And don't ever shame your lover. I don't care if it's a woman, your same gender or whatever. Be very gentle, because this shit's real. And it's one of the reasons why we also have problems with the twin flames being so apt not to win. Okay, so let me see her. Okay, please read the room. This is eerie. Her inner voice always said he will have to get sick to let me in and connect. Gotcha. Yeah, he's never been vulnerable with me. Ditto, same here, facts. When I was transparent, he looked at me in fear like I was an alien. We are now 30 and 39 with children from other partners. My twin and I met and we were together when we were 16 and we were separated for almost 20 years. Wow, my love. Yeah, let me look at the end. I'm still looking forward to the day he feels all of the above you just stated. Never seen anger like his rage. Yeah, rage is trauma. Typically, it's trauma. And I could tell you stories after male clients of babysitters that did it for years. Babysitter seems to be the key, believe it or not. Cousins, older cousins, leaving a teenage. Don't leave your fucking teenagers. Don't let your children with teenagers. Number one, no, that's a like no. It's a fucking no. And I don't care who you piss off. It's a no. Don't leave. I'm sorry. Don't leave your children with babysit. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Don't. It's not worth it. Or you better have cameras. Okay? Because this shit's a lot more common than you think. One of the first time I heard a babysitter had done that to any, male child was my godfather, who was born in 1919, something like that. And it happened to him when he was 8. And it was a babysitter and her boyfriend. Mic drop. I didn't even know what to say. I was 34. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't even know what to say. But he needed to say it. But the way he delivered that little fucking missile was as if he was not a victim. He still couldn't face the fact that he had been a victim to something absolutely horrific for any child to experience. So, and we're talking about 1919, I'm trying to remember, but yeah, I think he was born in 1919, something like that. Or 1909, something like that. So it's not like, oh, it just is starting now. No. Now there's just a lot of computers. And the level of tolerance on this shit is unhinged. I had a person who I was doing a little business with, and she told me, yeah, and I have a friend, and she's a pedo. And I'm like, wait, hang on, what? And she went, yeah, but she's really brilliant. She's really nice. She's really beautiful. She just has a... And I'm like, no, hang on, what? And that was the beginning of the end of our business relationship. She tolerated that. I will tolerate a lot of things, but that's one thing I don't like. If you ever want to do a reading with me and you're doing that shit, yeah, don't come to me. Do not come to me. I don't tolerate that at all, and I won't help anyone like that. And why? Because so many of us have gone through it, and we've chosen never to do that to anyone else. So I mean, it's a choice. You have a choice. And you got to get help. But anyway, any other questions or comments? I want to thank you for being here. Everything I spoke about is part of the Twin Flame journey. It's very important that you are comfortable with what I've said. If you're not comfortable, then it's not time for you, and it's not a judgment on you at all. It's just kind of journal how or what I said might have triggered you, is helping you, not helping you. It's all good, okay? Just be honest with what is good and what is not for you. And the cruelty was traumatizing, I bet. I bet, Jackie. Well, you're not being asked to allow anyone to be cruel, and it's not to be tolerated. Hopefully he is a twin. Actually, hopefully he's not, to be honest. I would prefer to say no, he's not. But he could be a high-level soulmate. He could be whatever, but you can't accept that kind of cruelty ever again. It's a no. It's a fuck no. Okay, Jackie? You can't go back to that, period, at all. Okay? It's a no. All right? No one... A lot of us have anger. A lot of us have been hurt, harmed as children at our most vulnerable times. And we're not out here trying to harm other people like that. I know the old saying, hurt people, and heal people, heal people. You can be a hurt person and not hurt people. It's a choice. So you need to make sure that you hold tight to your boundaries. Your inner little girl is begging you to protect her. So protect her. And if he can't meet you, and first of all, make sure it's a twin if you're going through this kind of shit. If it's a soulmate, high-level soulmate, make sure that you learn what you need to learn and then cut it off. If this continues, cut it off. You don't want to continue with this. It's not worth it. It isn't, okay? Let me see. I grew from it. I would imagine you did. So, any other questions or comments? I want to thank you for being here. It's 12:13. So here's my instructions for you if you could follow it. Go ahead after this and please go into a meditation. Put it on the clock. I have on my playlist Ho'oponopono. How do I know for sure it's a twin? I don't know I know, but that's what I do. I do readings to see is it a twin or not. So if you want to do a reading with me, you can actually text me your number text me. You can send me a message, but make sure you approach me. I'm not going to approach you. I will not approach you, okay? There are some trolls acting like it's me. And there's a process I do to look to see if it's a twin. It's numerology, it's tarot, it's psychic energy, it's also what you tell me, and then we can determine what this is if you want to work with me. If not, you can look at a lot of my videos. It'll take you some time, but there's a lot of videos, and I don't repeat myself in every live to say at every live, what is a twin? So what I can say to you is that I did do a live that said, what is a twin flame and why are we dangerous? That said, what is a twin flame and why are we dangerous? That's the video you may want to look at in my YouTube channel, okay? Which, follow me on YouTube. Go ahead and watch the video. I think it was like a 45-minute video, so it's not a big investment of time. And that might give you what you need. But we might not have TikTok in 2 days. I don't know. We're constantly being threatened with the slam, the end of TikTok. So in the USA, that is. And so, do what you need to do. Hang on for a quick second. I can feel his pain can I feel his pain during separation? Reword it, please. Because are you asking me? Or are you confident that you feel the pain? I do feel what he feels during separation. Tony is very detailed. Highly recommend her services. Oh, you're so sweet, Letty. Thank you. Comes in waves. I need to thank you for everything. I appreciate your energy. Thank you, Jackie. Tony. Yeah. Again, I have a lot of resources. I have over 603 videos on YouTube. I'm sure out of that you can find some answers, where you could figure it out yourself. But if you're going to suffer like this is why I have clients that come to me, because it's like, if you're going to suffer like that, make sure it's a fucking twin. And even then even if it is a twin, then I give you homework as to figure out what to do. Like, okay, it's a twin, but that doesn't mean it's a yes. Okay? Sometimes I have to tell clients, I'm really sorry to say it's a twin. Oh, fuck. And sometimes I tell clients, I'm happy to say it's not a twin. And sometimes I have clients where I'm saying it's not a twin. They're like, no, I know it is. I'm like, look, I could be wrong, but honestly, I'm not seeing it. And then I'll ask the question, can I find out if you have a twin somewhere, do you have a twin flame in this incarnation? And they'll say yes. And then I throw, I do my reading and boom, there it comes. Not always, but 7 out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, depending, there comes the answer that, no, the person they think is a twin isn't, but there is somebody else coming in. So apparently that's a karmic loop that they need to clear up. And let's not forget, there are people out there who are narcissistic, who love bomb you, who triangulate you, who drop you, who come back and drop you, and your heart is being used like a fucking yo-yo. So there's that too. So there's a lot of moving parts to intimate and soul contracts. Just making sure you said do a meditation so do a meditation for 5 minutes. Okay? Do a meditation for 5 minutes on your own. No music, no sound. Then go ahead and do the Ho'oponopono on my guided meditation playlist on TikTok. In fact, go ahead and download it and do it tonight. Work on your chakras. So the first meditation is just you, 5 minutes on the clock. And then the guided meditation, you're going to lay down in bed and you're going to just let me work on your chakras. You're just going to do what I'm saying. And then you're going to turn it off. And what I highly recommend is this high frequency app, because now YouTube is so, you never know, right, what's going on. So this high frequency app, and I'm not getting a dime, trust me, it's called Moon Gate. It's called Moon Gate. And for 7 days, you can use that app, and you can put sleeping. And when I do my sleeping, I do sleeping, binaural beats, and then I put 5 hertz because it's my life path number. So I put 5 hertz and I sleep. Once I'm out, I'm out. I am relaxed. I am good. So check out Moongate. I can't recommend it enough. And just me. Okay, so I can see right through his every mask and fake layer. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's not easy. All right, my loves. So this, you'll recognize this live by the image here. And I've got 2 more lives I uploaded, and this will be uploaded tonight. And I love you so much. And I want you to know that you have such value. The one of 1,000 names, the one who created us all, gives us all such nectar of their love. I mean, it's like unconditional acceptance, unconditional love, unconditional trust that we're going to make our way back home in terms of consciousness. And you just need to love yourself. Thank you. I love you, Letty. I love you very much. Thank you for being here. So I'll see you soon. Much love on your journey. Do the guided meditation, Ho'oponopono. Try to do it for a week and see how you feel. Also, let me leave you with this. Also do Ahom Prema. I had a client who was going through the monkey loop of her mind, and she did it 300 times. She said, I must have done it 300 times. I feel so much better. I can't believe it. So the mantra is on my Mantras for Abundance in my playlist. It's Ahom Prema. You'll see it. And it means I am divine love. But clearly I don't want you to say I am divine love. I want you to do Sanskrit, okay, because it's powerful. So go ahead and do Ahom Prema. Tomorrow, when your monkey mind is kicking the shit out of you, just keep doing Ahom Prema to shut it down. Again, it's on my playlist. Enjoy yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I'll see you soon. Namaste. Be well.